She wiped her hand across her face, clearing away the moisture. Okay, that's okay. We're still alive. We need to apply pressure to your wound, Puda. A thud caused her to turn back. Puda lay sprawled across the ground. No, oh no, please, she begged, a thick weight lodging in her chest. Without thinking, she ran to the more intact guard, pulled his knife out of his belt, and then cut off a part of his suit that didn't have blood. There wasn't much to choose from. She returned to the small office, pressed the fabric to Puda's head, and racked her brain for where they might find a medikit on this floor. It probably has the same layout as a floor 10 stories up, right? She asked the silent room. 10 floors isn't enough to skimp on medical supplies, is it? Granted, while her department had been housed 10 floors higher, it had also been in a different building on the other side of town. The layout seemed vaguely similar, but not the same. You have to hold this, Puda, okay? Can you hear me? He didn't move or make any sound. She felt his pulse, and to reassure herself, the rise and fall of his chest. He was still alive, but if she didn't get something to help, he wouldn't stay that way. I'm gonna go for supplies, okay? Just hang tight. Out of blind hope, she waited for a response she knew wouldn't come. Struggling for breath against her panic, she pushed up from her knees and jogged out of the office and around the corner, trying to avoid stepping on any piles of debris. There was no telling where explosives were hidden, or discarded. There was also no telling why, since Moxidone never seemed to have a clear strategy when employing their various weaponry. Wires and ceiling tiles hung down, looking like the root system of a giant plant. Piles that had once been work pods littered the floor with an occasional cracked screen standing erect in a sea of desecration. Green light flickered from an exit sign across the large space. She stopped next to an alcove and stared at the heap of stuff blocking her way. A black hole where the ceiling had caved in loomed above a counter. Beams cut through the darkness. After a deep breath, then two, she glanced back in the general direction of Puda. He needed help. She had to do this. Gathering her courage, Danissa stepped onto the mound. Not stopping, she took another step, and then another, her heart clattering in her chest. Something clicked. She tried to get footing to jump, but a piece of rubble fell away, making her struggle for balance. She squeezed her eyes shut, knowing this was her only chance to get clear. No explosion. Oh, thank the Holy Divine, she breathed. Come on, Danissa, almost there. You can do it. She half slid down the other side of the pile and crashed into cabinets. Frantically, she pulled on the plastic handles one by one, only able to open each cabinet a fraction. Computer parts and hardware sat in neat piles, not affected by the blast. Moving on, she ripped open higher drawers. No medical supplies. After continuing to all the other cabinets and drawers, she eyed the last, a cabinet door that was mostly blocked by the fallen ceiling. Exhaling loudly, she thought of where else medical supplies could be, then shook her head. On her floor, they had been with all this stuff. All supplies, no matter what kind, were kept in the same places on each floor for efficiency, so employees only needed to make one stop to stock up. Maybe they've all been used. No, they're here, she answered her wandering thought aloud. They had to be, or else Puda was in real trouble. Swallowing back a frantic sob, she kicked at the rubble, trying to clear a space in front of the remaining cabinet. She took to it with her hands, clawing and yanking, using all her strength. Finally able to pull the door open a fraction, she peered into the dark space. Gritting her teeth, she reached in and pulled everything out so she could see what she was working with. Panting, she poked through her spoils, and then cried in frustration. Nothing. Standing in desperation, she looked up with the intent to pray out loud. There, on top of the cabinets, was a dented metal box emblazoned with a large red cross. How stupid of her not to look up. Struggling, she managed to get it down, knocking something else off the shelf with it. A round metal disc bounced off the counter and then lodged at the base of the debris. It made a sound like a snap. Her breath caught.